All right. I'm going to start by taking you through the back and showing you what happens out there, the bit you don't normally see. So for the first 5 minutes, we're going to go in there and we're going to look at what happens out of sight so you know what's going on. You've been in before, I know, so's Matt. We're dealing with issues that are so deep in me that it really is difficult to find words to explain them. Right, this room is called sacristy. It's an old-fashioned word, but it actually is just the room where the priest's things are kept. Now this is Father Paul's wardrobe. Just like the colours in the church change, so the colours of the things that the priest wear changes. There's his white and gold one for really big feasts like Easter and Christmas. And there's one more. What was he wearing when he said Mass for you yesterday for the Pope? It's not a lack of will, it's just that I can't do it. And if I could, I would. Okay. When we go out to Holy Communion, we put our right hand, that's the hand you make the sign of the cross with, that hand goes there. And you put your other hand on top of it like that. Before we start, what is this really? Now, this minute. It's bread, and just bread. But we're going to have to pretend it's the body of Jesus so that we know what to do on the day. I was certainly under 10. I'm not sure exactly how old I was. And I was playing, and I crucifix and like bits and pieces. And I was kind of going through the liturgy of the Mass. And Mum arrived and went berserk. You ready? It's one of the few occasions I ever actually remember her losing her temper, getting really angry. And I didn't understand the implications. I mean, she talked about it being blasphemy and heresy, and I think I thought that she was upset that I was playing with sacred things, right? Then I realised, when I got older, that it was because it was me that was playing at saying Mass. And had I been her son, she'd have been delighted. But for a little girl, this was just not acceptable. Right, loud enough for Father Paul to hear you, right? Now try again. The body of Christ. At the point at which she died, I was still of the opinion that whatever it was had been going on in me was something wrong. It was just a subject that was never mentioned again.
Monica has a far greater belief in Christianity than I have. Possibly because I do not have the depth of faith that I believe Monica to have. I cannot understand it. Now, does that make sense? And I hope that doesn't hurt.
No, that's all right.
Right. Here, a problem here is that I am jealous. I'm me. I am possessive. I want her, and I'm jealous that she should have another thing. If she wasn't that way inclined, she wouldn't be the person that she is. And she wouldn't be the person that I love. That's it.
I used to feel quite jealous of couples who went to church together, who worshipped together, who shared a faith. I have to say, it's actually quite refreshing that Barry and I are from different Christian traditions, because I don't get the standard Catholic answers from him. I can come in and you know, crawl the walls and say what I think about whatever's happening in the hierarchy or wherever. And he will wait for me to finish and then say something dead sensible, and that's it, you know. That's me levelled off. But no, it isn't easy. There is a kind of tension, isn't there?
Yes. I don't know, and I don't know about other people, but when we got married, I'd expected that I was to be the centre of her world.
the day that they first ordained the women in Liverpool. I came out of that cathedral and I thought, you know, whatever anybody says, this cannot be wrong. It just felt so right. It was wonderful. The first thing, there's a sense of elation that you've made a discovery, and it's an important one. And then there was a sort of a simple disappointment that says, but it's not possible for us, for Catholic women. Pope John Paul's papacy forbade even the discussion of the subject. So you learn to live with the disappointment. You train the children for First Communion. Somebody else says Mass for them and gives them their First Communion. You train the children for their first confession. Somebody else hears their confession and gives them absolution. You go to visit the old people every week with communion. Their health starts to fail. You need somebody else to come and anoint them before they die. It's a difference in relationship, in depth of relationship. Not to be able to lead a celebration of the Eucharist is like a good athlete discovering that they'll never walk again. There's a lot you can do in a wheelchair, but you can't run.
I think we have about the balance right at the moment. Monica, who works in our parish, does an excellent job. She's very dedicated, and she does an awful lot of work for the church. And we're just glad, you know, that we have Father Paul, and we can attend Mass there regularly. I would see the role of women encompassing everything in the church, except actually celebrating the Mass as a priest. That reflects, as I say, my life, my upbringing, and my tradition of going to Mass, and the Mass being celebrated by a male priest.